بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
The Shariah law is basically laws that are legislated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and those extend from how to conduct ourselves as individuals, how to conduct ourselves as families, and how to conduct ourselves as a community, all the way up to a society. So it includes family law, it includes penal codes, which are like, punishments, civil law, because Islam is a complete system. And usually the Sharia is in reference to the laws that are dispensed. Usually, when people talk about it, they're talking about the laws that are dispensed by government. That's usually what people are talking about. But really, Sharia is anything that's legislated by Allah and His Messenger, anything that's legislated in the Qur'an, and just anything that's commanded or legislated in the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, that's Sharia. When we pray 5 times a day, that's according to the Sharia. When we pray 5 times a day, that's the Sharia. When we pay the zakat every year, that's according to the Sharia. But usually in like the public's mind, especially non-Muslims, they usually think of laws dispensed by the government only. That's the only way they think about it. But that's not it. That is a part and parcel of the Sharia. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Those are laws, and those particular aspect of the Sharia is to be dispensed by a sovereign nation and a government. And every law and every country that is a sovereign nation has laws. So for example, in the United States, they have capital punishment. They execute people, and they kill people, right? Murderers and so on and so forth. People who commit treason. The punishment for treason, pretty much by any law, by any country, is death. They put those people to death. So likewise, Islam has its own legal system, and it has punishments prescribed for, or capital punishment prescribed for certain laws, certain crimes. And so it's not, in the issue here, the concern that people that have, and the mix-up that people have, including some Muslims, they think those laws that are supposed to be dispensed by the government, they think because we have the Qur'an and we have you can buy a hadith book anywhere or read it on the internet. They think like, oh, because I read it in the Qur'an, it must mean I'm supposed to dispense it and I have to do it wherever it is. And it's not. There are certain aspects of the Sharia that's not for individuals. So for example, I already explained to you there's something called Fard al-Ain and Fard al-Kifaya. There's things that are individual obligations, and there are things that are communal obligations. Those things that are individual obligations, like I said, that, and they're part of the Sharia, is you have to pray 5 times a day. That's your individual responsibility. It is not your individual responsibility that if someone commits murder, right? Because the punishment for murder is that person supposed to be put to death. That's not your responsibility to fulfill that. It's not your job. But that's the problem, and that's why people are scared, is because they think, oh, well, because it's in the Qur'an and Muslims read the Qur'an, it must mean that they're supposed to do that. But it's not. That is the responsibility of a sovereign nation and a government. That's the Muslim government's job to do. So it's not our job to, but you can understand how that's normal, because it's the job of the United States, it's the responsibility of the government. If someone commits a crime, it's the government's responsibility to do what? To apprehend that person and to punish them. So they got to go to court. They have a due process. Islam has the same thing. There are people who are supposed to go to court. There's supposed to be a due process. We have witnesses. They're supposed to bring evidences. All of that is there. The only mix-up is that people don't separate. People think there's no separation in Islam, and that Muslims, right, as a religion, that they're all supposed to do every aspect of the Sharia, and it's not like that. It's the same way. Just like a citizen is not allowed, An American citizen, you can't just go on the north side of Minneapolis because you see somebody doing something wrong. You just go and like, I'm putting you under arrest. That's called vigilantism, and it's illegal. It's illegal in America. In Islam, that's illegal. You can't just go and be like, I'm going to do the hudud and I'm going to go whip somebody in the basement because they're fornicating. Or I'm going to go, kill a woman because she's fornicating. That's vigilantism in Islam, and it's also illegal. And the added difference between us and in America, not only is it illegal, it's also a moral crime. It's like morally wrong in Islam. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So that's the issue with the Shariah. Is people don't make that distinction. So us as Muslims, right, living here, we don't have the responsibility of government. We don't have that responsibility. So if somebody did something haram, right? Like let's say, for example, if they stole something. As a Muslim, I can't apprehend them. Nor am I supposed to do that as a citizen either. As a Muslim, however, I'm actually obligated, right, to report that. I'm obligated to. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, "Man ra'a minkum munkaran falyughayyirhu biyadi, fa in lam yastati' fa bilisani." You're supposed to say something. Like he says, if any of you see something wrong, then you're supposed to try to change it with your hand. If you're not able to, which in this instance, somebody's stealing, we're not able to, we're not supposed to. Fabilisani, you're supposed to say something. And added for us as Muslims, also as citizens, we're supposed to report that if we see something going on. Right? So, so basically, the thing is here, is that the Sharia, right, is a complete system and way of life. There are certain portions of it, however, that we are not supposed to implement because you don't have that authority or that responsibility. Just like us being here as citizens, we are obligated to follow the law of the land. We are obligated, and when you do that, you're implementing the Sharia. Because basically what? When you have a passport, what that is a contract. They even tell you that it's not your property. You know a passport, right, which shows that we're citizens, they say that's not even yours. That's government property. You're not even allowed to tamper with it or do anything to it, right? But what it is, that is an agreement between you and the government that you will obey the laws, and that even when you travel, right, that you are a citizen, and that the people are, when you travel as a citizen in other places, they're supposed to treat you fairly and nicely or whatever, according to whatever relationship America has with that place. But al-muhim, it's an agreement between you. And it is from the Sharia that you follow through with your agreements. That it's a contract, that you abide by your contract. Which means what? That we wouldn't hurt anybody, that we're not going to hurt innocent people, that we help people when we're supposed to, that we're good, essentially that we're good citizens. That's from the Sharia. But people, because they have a superficial understanding when it comes to the religion, right? And they have other issues mixed into it, both Muslims and non-Muslims. It's not only non-Muslims. Even Muslims sometimes misunderstand this because of issues of loyalty, when it comes to loyalty to the state and stuff like that. They're like, oh, we can't swear allegiance to the United States and blah, 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 and we can't do that. Why are you getting all philosophical and stuff, akhi? You a citizen, obey the law, akhi. Eshfiq, whatever, man. They make it like a big deal. Allah understand, akhi.